There was a kid named Marcus who lived on a street so quiet you could hear the sprinklers click on 2 houses down. He was 15, rode his bike everywhere, and didn't have a care in the world. Until one Tuesday in October, when he pedaled to the corner store for a bag of chips. Halfway there, a man stepped out from between 2 parked cars right in front of him. Brown jacket, 2 sizes too big, the kind you'd find at a thrift store in another town. When Marcus squeezed his brakes, the man didn't even flinch. He just stood there, looking down at Marcus with eyes that didn't blink. The smell hit him next. Cigarettes, cheap coffee, and something sour underneath, like milk left out in the sun. The man finally moved aside, but he kept his eyes locked on Marcus the whole time he passed. Marcus pedaled the rest of the way with his head down, telling himself the guy was just drunk. 15 minutes later, Marcus was inside the store picking out a bag of salt and vinegar, trying to forget. He turned to leave and glanced across the parking lot, the way you do when something makes the hair on your neck stand up. There he was. The brown jacket, leaning against a red pickup truck at the far end of the lot. He wasn't reaching for his keys. He wasn't looking at his phone. He was just watching the store, his head tilted slightly, like a dog listening to a sound you can't hear. Marcus walked his bike out the back exit and took the long way home, checking over his shoulder every few seconds. The next morning, he was riding to his friend Derek's house 3 streets over when he saw the man again, squatting at the corner of somebody's hedge on Maple. He turned just enough to watch Marcus pass. There was a man stopped so fast he almost stopped the glass. There was a man standing in the backyard, right at the edge of the porch light. The brown jacket. The man wasn't moving. He wasn't shifting his weight, wasn't rubbing his hands together, wasn't doing any of the things a real person does when they're standing in the cold at 2 a.m. He was just looking up at the house, looking right at the window where Marcus was standing. Marcus backed away from the glass so slowly he barely breathed, then ran to his mom's room. They searched the yard together. Nobody there. The gate was still latched from the inside. Marcus didn't sleep that night. 2 days later, he was curled up on the couch watching a movie, trying to forget the hedge. He glanced at the living room window, and there he was, 20 feet from the 7 days after the first sighting, Marcus was walking home from school through the alley behind the public library. He took that shortcut 3 times a week. He knew every crack in the pavement, every loose dog. Halfway through, he heard footsteps behind him. Slow. Even. Like a metronome. He turned around. The man in the brown jacket was standing at the far end of the alley, hands in his pockets, head tilted, blocking the way back. Marcus spun around to run the other way, and that's when he saw the second man. Black coat, taller, standing in the shadow of a garage, holding something that caught the daylight and glinted once, then was gone. Marcus didn't think. He dropped his backpack, ducked between 2 garbage bins, and sprinted through somebody's side yard. He hurdled a chain-link fence, scraped his shin bloody, and didn't stop running until he reached the police station. The police never caught anyone. They pulled the security camera footage from Marcus's house and saw a blurry figure in a brown jacket standing at the mailbox at 3 in the afternoon, perfectly still, for 11 minutes. Then just walking away, no face, no license plate, no nothing. Marcus's family moved to a different city before the school year ended. New house, new school, new dog, same baseball bat by the bed. He doesn't walk past men in brown jackets anymore. He crosses the street. Sometimes, late at night, when it's quiet enough that he can hear the neighbor's sprinklers, he swears he can smell cigarettes and cheap coffee drifting in from somewhere just out of sight. He never found out what those men wanted. He never found out if they followed him to the new house. And honestly, Marcus told me, some questions the dark is better at keeping than any of us. So if you're ever riding your bike down a